Come on, phone. I don't know. All right, I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to start the room. It's not responding. Hmm. Okay, just a second. Maybe something going on with the app. Let me close the app and reopen it. What is happening? It's just spinning. I don't know, it's just spinning. Anything? All right, well, I don't know what's happening. I don't understand what's happening. My phone is just spinning. Just a second. I'm trying to get us started. And I have a frog in my throat. Okay, we're going to do our weekly planning session. I'm going to reboot my phone because I don't know what's happening. Man. Give me just a second. And we will get started. It's like my phone was stuck in limbo. Oh, gosh. Okay. So this has been one of those crazy, crazy mornings. I am going to sound like I have a frog in my throat this whole time. I hate that. But I think we are live. Let me just make sure we really are live. Looks like we are. Okay. I think. Yes. Okay, we are. All right. So I'm just trying to go live on Clubhouse. The Clubhouse is spinning, 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 spinning. We're about to do our weekly planning session. So if you have never done this before, we're going to go ahead and plan the second week in April. We're going to plan our next week. We do this every Saturday. So I have picked up a cold or something, and I sound a little worse than I have in the past. The allergies were challenging before, but now whatever I've picked up is taking over my voice. So I'm going to sound a little froggy. I got my cough drop, I got my tea. Well, let's see if we can pull it together this morning. So if you want to take a moment to go get your coffee or tea or whatever you drink, grab your notebook and your pen, go do that. While I reboot my phone, it is coming up slowly but surely. So my phone is thinking about it. We are trying to go live on Clubhouse. I got to figure out how to go live on Instagram. You know, I am not an expert at this. I need to be able to show my screen and go live on Instagram. So I got to figure out the gram. I'm not that talented. I've always been gram challenged. So I got to figure that out. Okay. All right. So it may just be the app that is acting weird this morning. That might be it. I don't know. So we may just only go live um, here. If the app is going to be acting crazy today, we can't do anything about that. So let me just make sure my other apps are working okay. because my phone also might be full. Hey, might want to figure that out. Okay, well, this is like one of my favorite sessions. Hope I'm not, storage is not full. If storage is full, it's going to be like, no, we're not doing any of this. Whatever this is, we're not doing it. So while we wait, I was going, nope, we're not full. Okay, good. All right, so I finally got something to come up on my phone. So something actually came up on my phone. Let me see, make sure this other app comes up. So while we are waiting, I'm going to go ahead and pull up. I'm actually in the middle of working on a bunch of stuff for especially needs. So I got 9,000 windows open. And, oh God, none of them are going to let me get out of this, are they? Okay, so let me go ahead and do this. Okay, I got 2 apps to come up now. All right, let's try this one more time. If it doesn't work out, we're gonna move on with life. So every week, every day this week, we have been doing we've been doing one specific topic to help people with their journey to getting more focused. We started getting more organized, doing a better job with their planning, establishing goals, and things like that. And so we've done it. We've covered everything from organization to time management to consistency to productivity to goal setting. And today is planning and focus and concentration. So I'm going to do the focus and concentration. We may not be able to concentration. We may not be able to do anything on Clubhouse today, so I hate that. But in any case, I'm going to go ahead and just pull up one of these articles. Better Up. This is not a bad article. Looks like it's pretty good. And we're going to go through this real quick and cover this topic, and then we'll get on with the show. So my name is Nicole Whitlock. I'm with eCom Sellers, and my goal again is to help everyone with their business, help them to get more productive, help them with being able to achieve the goals that they establish. And so today we're doing the weekly planning session. But before we get into the weeds of the weekly planning session, we're going to do this focus and concentration real quick. We normally are live on Clubhouse, but I'm guessing something is going on with Clubhouse that is impacting my ability to go live on Clubhouse. So we're not going to be live on Clubhouse, maybe. And I am sorry. If you wanted to listen to it from Clubhouse, I may come back and re-record it at a later time. It may be something with the app. I'm not really sure, but we'll figure that out. So with this article, again, I always choose a random article. I'm not focusing on any one specific company or business and what they have to say. So I'm not going after specific blogs. I'm just randomly searching the topic and seeing what they have to say. So factors that are affecting your focus and concentration. First one is distractions. Yeah, being bombarded with a lot of information. So yeah, I'd agree. There's probably a lot of things that may be happening. I'll give you an example. There are a lot of people that are teaching how to sell on Amazon or eBay or Etsy or Shopify or Walmart, and it's just a lot of information. And you could get to a place where you get information overload. And so it kind of paralyzes you. So that will definitely affect your focus and concentration, trying to remember everybody's method. Insufficient sleep, I agree with that. I have an autistic son, and he is always impacting my sleep. So, insufficient physical activity, I agree. I think if you can get some physical activity, that's actually going to help with your focus and concentration. There's a lot of scientific proof behind that. So, trying to get out and get a walk, going to the gym. Some people, that's part of their morning routine, which is a great thing. Eating habits, eating bad things, that will definitely affect your focus and concentration. I work on that with my kids all the time. So yeah, poor nutrition can definitely affect how your brain thinks. Your environment, if your environment is not conducive to being able to focus, so it's loud, it's messy, that will definitely impact your ability to think clearly and to focus. So I agree with that. conditions related to it. Okay, so you can have cognitive conditions. Um, Definitely. So we have a couple of different things. My son has ADHD, and so we have some focus and concentration sort of supplements that we take. There are a lot of them. I am not here as a medical professional to recommend any of them to you, but um, if you feel like you're at a place where you think you might want to try some supplements, definitely, if you've got a medical condition, consult your doctor. If you've got a neurologist, definitely let your neurologist know. There's some prescription drugs that are out there. But there's there's several natural things that you can do, and you can Google them. I know that, drinking green tea, eating certain foods like beets can help with focus and concentration, just increasing your alertness. Vitamin C can increase your alertness. So do some searches on things that could help you with that. I know that after getting COVID, my ability to focus was really challenged. It still is. And I've gotten sharper and sharper over the months. But initially, right after getting COVID, like I could start working and then hours later still be working on the same thing, meaning I hadn't really started because I wasn't able to think. I couldn't focus. I couldn't think through anything. It was massive, massive, massive brain fog, massive. And so if you find yourself that way where you're not able to focus anymore, you can't figure out why you can't think clearly, I would encourage you to do some Google searches again and just look for solutions that may help you. There's a bunch of natural solutions that are out there. And if you have any medical conditions, definitely consulting a medical professional. There's also supplements that are out there that can help with focus and concentration. So, again, if you have a medical condition, I would encourage you to consult a professional. I have high blood pressure, so a lot of the stuff that I give my son, I can't take because it may have some level of caffeine. Like people will have that cup of coffee in the morning. So I drink tea, but I drink herbal tea that has no caffeine. The only thing that I do drink that has a little bit of caffeine in it is a green tea. So again, I will drink some green tea to help me with my focus and concentration challenges. Psychological. So if you feel like you're going through depression, definitely seek the help of a professional. I only because my son suffers from mild depression. Um, Again, there are supplements out there that can help with that. That could be low dopamine levels. It could be a couple of different things, and then you also it could be impacted by diet. It could be impacted by increasing a couple of supplements in your life. So seek professional help for sure. Do some Google searches on your own around diet and around supplements and try that and see if it works. And if you have a medical condition, before you try any of that stuff, definitely seek a professional before you start trying anything you find out online. But there are some things that are online that might help. Medical conditions like diabetes, hormonal imbalance, yeah, that could definitely affect focus and concentration, your environment, poor working conditions, shared space, intense or negative work dynamics that will, impact you as well. And then lifestyle, hunger, fatigue, dehydration. I'm gonna say I probably have dehydration this morning, so I'm drinking my tea. So if you feel like any of these are things that could impact you, um, do a little bit more research. So this article is coming to us from Better Up. I think I found an article from them before. I think like last week when I did a random Google search. So interesting. All right, so here's a couple of ways that can help you. So one of them, they say reduce the distractions that you have. Now, I'm going to apologize in advance because of whatever I'm fighting. I'm probably going to, through this hour-long session, probably going to blow my nose, and I apologize for that. Or I may cough, or I may sip my tea throughout this conversation. So I'm probably going to be a little bit of a distraction today. So eliminating those distractions can help you with focusing. Yes, whatever you can do to minimize distractions, that will be good. So I'll tell you, whenever I needed to focus on my business before COVID, pre-COVID, I would actually go to There is a college near me, and I would go there to the library, and they have these quiet rooms, and I would go in there and I would work. And that would help me to be able to get a bunch of stuff done because my kids were not listening to me. Sometimes, when they come home from school, Nicholas, because he would see me in the room, he would talk to me. Now, I do have little routines that I did with them or still do, although since COVID, everything is just weird, where I would encourage them to not bother me. And I would put signs up like, okay, mommy's working, or I would shut the door and then go from there. So, those types of things are things that you can do. There's all types of things that you can set up in your environment. But if you just feel like you really need to leave the house, that was my solution. If I needed to really focus. Now, minimal distractions from them, I was able to handle that. And then I would just point to the sign. I'd have a sign on my door that said I was working. I also talked to them and say, okay, when you come home from school, or whenever you not come home from school, but when you are, whatever it happened to be, I would say, look, this is the window in which mommy is working. So that is how I handled some of it. Reduce multitasking. I believe that you should focus on whatever it is that you're supposed to be focusing on, instead of trying to do 9,000 things at one time. I will tell you, I've epically failed sometimes at multitasking. That's the reason why I do time blocks where I can focus on one thing at a time. And whatever that one thing is, then I'm able to get more stuff done. Practice mindfulness and meditation. I have not done as much mindfulness and meditation as I wish I would have. I feel like over time, because of this brain fog that's coming from COVID, I think that will help me if I start doing mindfulness and meditation. So we will see, but I will let you guys know. I've heard a lot about it. I've done some meditation and mindfulness with my kids over the years, and I've found that it helps them to center and to calm down. Get more sleep. Oh my gosh, yes. After this is over, I'm definitely taking another nap. Go back to sleep. Because whatever this is, that has me coughing in my sleep, and it has me not being able to breathe in my sleep. And I'm like, so I definitely need to get more sleep. But I would tell you, when I am sleep deprived, it does impact my ability to focus. So, um, and that was one of the things with COVID, like I was sleep deprived all the time too. So that didn't help with the recovery. Choose to focus on the moment. Okay. So unable to concentrate, choose to focus, if it's tough to concentrate when your mind is always in the past, worrying about the future. Okay. So I agree. You should focus on what you're doing right now. When it comes to your business, if you're doing time blocks, or if you are if you're focused on one task at a time, I do go back in the past for information, and once I already have that, I don't keep going back to the past. I document that so I can make decisions going forward. So, it just depends. But when it comes to your business, there are some times where you need to get information, but you use it as information and not dwell on it. Take breaks, definitely. Take at least 5-minute breaks. Figure out your window of focus and concentration. Figure out what that is. I'm going to blow my nose just a second. Oh, sorry about that. We're going to try to get through this, guys. Okay. Oh, man. The chaos hammer in my life. But yeah, definitely take breaks. Um, if you're using the Pomodoro Method, which I use that for my time blocking, it requires you to take 5-minute breaks. So work for 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break. Get up, go get a cup of water. I go downstairs, come back upstairs. I will grab an orange. I will, whatever I need to do, grab a hard boiled egg. We do eat a lot of hard boiled eggs around here, because of the fact that they're high in protein, and they're not going to bring down your focus ability. Hard boiled eggs also, since they're high in protein, like when it comes to your ability to think, things that are higher in protein is not going to affect your blood sugar levels. And so that's one of the things that I do with my kids in the morning is definitely do that. Connect with nature, get outside, go for a walk, or get some plants. I have killed the plants. I have one live plant in my office as I look around the corner, which is really bad. So I have to get my plant game back on. But having some plants in around your environment is good. Going for a walk outside is always good. Um, train your brain. So training your brain, okay, short-term and long-term, short-term memory, as well as processing and problem solving. Um, so here's when it comes to your business, training your brain. What I would say is that when you are building your weekly schedule, your daily schedule, whatever that happens to be, there's going to be windows where you can do like listen to music while you do an activity. So one of them I would be like, doing shipping. Shipping is you're moving around, maybe if you're doing the shipments yourself. So listening to some music that's going to be upbeat and is helpful to you, um, keeping you moving, that's fine. And so you're not focused on anything that's a hard task. Whereas if you are looking at numbers, you're looking at data, you're analyzing any stats, then training your brain to say, okay, this is the window in which I'm going to be doing this thing. You need to figure out your most productive time of the day and do that brain draining concentration type of work during that window. And one of the things that I do is I listen to focus and concentration music that is on YouTube. So you can find that and listen to focus and concentration music on YouTube. So that's one of the strategies that I use when I know I've got to focus. I train myself to be prepared for that brain draining time, but I also make sure I'm doing it during a certain window. And I don't know if, how they've applied to it here, if that's something that will help because they mentioned jigsaw puzzles. I do that with my kids, Sudoku, chess, brain stimulating video games. All of those you can install some apps, but I think also from a business standpoint, training your brain to be prepared to work is also helpful. So I would encourage that. Exercise, we talked about that before, getting moving, listen to music, definitely one of those, eating well, choosing those things. Oh, look, they talk about moderate blood sugar. So foods that are not going to raise your blood sugar levels, going to keep them level, and also not drain you. So then you can't concentrate. So I will tell you this: eating a bunch of snack foods um, will definitely impact your ability to focus and concentrate. And that is one of the things I've had to increase my awareness of by 2,000% since getting COVID. I've had to think about that more than I've ever thought about it before. And so um, we do have like a lot of nuts and an avocado. I eat avocado every morning, um, things like that, so that way I can focus. I have more keto related snacks that are low in carbs, like stuff with coconut in them. I get my stuff from Aldi's. They have those little, and I like to crunch. So eating a bowl of cereal is not going to be the thing that's going to help me. Eating those, they call them coconut clusters from Aldi's, so then that way again, I'm not raising my blood sugar level, and I'm also getting more fat to the brain, and also drinking a little bit more. Set a daily priority. So the night before, look at that. Ideally, the night before, what you're going to accomplish for the day. Yeah, we talk about that all the time. What's your priority? Create your workspace. Make sure it's a calm space, dedicated space. Yeah, if you don't have any workspace or you don't have a dedicated space where you work and do the work that you need to do in your business, I would encourage you to get that if you don't. Get a timer. I've said that all the time. I have kitchen timers everywhere. I use timers on your phone and use timers. I use kitchen timers and then switch tasks. So if I'm changing up my task every 30 minutes to an hour. So I do switch up the task. So switch up your task. I agree with this article. I think that's a good one. I would encourage you to go check it out. Again, I just randomly chose it from Better Up, and it's a pretty good article. So, with that being said, we are not going live on Clubhouse today because Clubhouse is, at least my app, is not working. That's the way it is sometimes. I hate that because I feel like the Saturday session is like the one that's the best. So, let's move on with life. So, we're going to do the weekly planning session. And in the weekly planning session, there's a lot of stuff that we're doing. We're actually prepping for the week. So if you got your ecom planner, this is what I will say. Towards the end of your ecom planner is a grid for you to be able to fill in your weekly template or to put together your weekly plan. So if you open up your ecom planner, and this is the ecom planner, and if you go to the table of contents, hopefully my computer's going to respond. There we go. Just all kind of the latency and delays today, huh? Okay, so I am going to go towards the end where it says weekly planning. I'm gonna go ahead and choose that. If I need to come back to the top, you can always click on the ecom sellers at the top. We're gonna go to the weekly planning session, and this is where you can actually set up the stuff that we're talking about today in your weekly plan. You can put together your outline for your week. For me, or in this example as a template, I just put blocks of morning, afternoon, and evening. And the reason I did that intentionally. For people that have not done a significant amount when it comes to planning, setting up a planner where you have every hour blocked off can seem overwhelming. And I get that feedback directly from Kelly Ward, who's one of our leaders. She is always overwhelmed. And so, meaning she does not, like, if she had a to do list that was so detailed with morning, afternoon, and evening, she'd be like, okay, I'm paralyzed. And I don't want people to be paralyzed. I want them to make progress. So, what I did was I chunked everything in the morning, afternoon, and evening. But long term, bigger picture, I highly, highly, highly recommend that when we go through this exercise, that you choose um, you choose actual time blocks when you get to that place, when you're ready to be that organized, that structured. If you're not in that place, then high level, what are the things that you do morning, afternoon, and evening? So the rest of the planner is designed around morning, afternoon, and evening. So we kind of carry that theme over into the weekly planning. And it's, again, towards the end. Oh gosh, I apologize. I told you guys at the beginning, I am fighting whatever this is. I think we're hopefully tomorrow we'll be on the tail end of it because I've been doing a lot of supplements and I plan on resting today for sure. Oh my gosh, yes. But in any case, let's get on with the show. So we plan out our week for a reason. The reason we plan out our week is because we're working to be intentional about what we do every single day. Um, our goal is to make progress in our business and to achieve whatever the goals are that we set out for the month. And we established our monthly planning session. It's done the last Sunday of every month at 7 o'clock. We take that information and we use it to plan out our weeks, each one of those weeks in the month. And then from there, we plan out our daily activities. So we're going to use this weekly planning template to schedule out every single day of the week. And I'm going to increase this by a little bit just so people can see it. Okay. We are also live in the eCom planning session, planning, e-commerce planning Facebook group. And this document, I updated it, so it's not in there yet, but I will upload it later on today so you'll have it. So we're going to build what's called a weekly template. Why do we need a weekly template? Because it's a guide for how the next week is going to go. This will be the second full week of April. And so, as we think through the second full week of April, what are the things that are most important? Well, with next week being close to the deadline for filing your taxes, I'm thinking taxes is going to be your priority. Um, I would encourage you to get that done. If you haven't already got that done, that's definitely been my focus. And so we're going to build out a weekly template. And there's different tools that you can use to build out this weekly template. But first, we're going to start with some brain dumps. So with this weekly template, we're going to talk about what things that we already do every single week, things we need to do, and things we want to do or, should be doing. So there's already things that you're doing. If you're a person that's already engaging in meditation, focus, and concentration time, morning routine, put it down. That's something you already do. So this is not new to you. If you are a person that maybe you go to the gym every morning, or maybe you go to church every Sunday, or maybe you take the kids to soccer practice every Saturday. If these are things you already do, and this is a pretty set schedule, then go ahead and put those things, fill them in. And we're just doing a brain dump initially. So write down the things that you already do and when do you do them? Okay. So I include everything from, if you already have a set routine around cleaning your house, you have a set routine about which day of the week you go to the grocery store, you have a set routine about if you're doing meal planning or meal prepping, like put that down if that's something you already do. Then things you need to do or must do. This is where in your business, if there are areas that you feel like I am weak in this because I really don't make any time to do it. I don't do the things that I know that are going to help me grow my business, then yeah, you need to write these things down. So one of your musts is, I'm not listing. I should be listing every day. Then you need to write down listing is your thing you need to do in your business. I must do. If I'm going to grow my business, I must do this. Okay. Um, if you are not, checking for emails from customers, if you are not shipping, if you are not sourcing, if you're not doing product research, like things that you are not doing in your business, or also things that you're not doing with your kids. Maybe you're not making enough time to go over their homework with them. Maybe you really don't have a really good bedtime routine and you really want one so you can regain some time back. And I will tell you this, like your bedtime routine, if your life right now is like it takes us 2 hours to go to bed and you're like, this is crazy. Or another example, if it takes you an hour to create a listing and you're like, this is crazy, then one singular listing, then that's clearly an opportunity to improve. And so, because it takes you so long to do something, sometimes we procrastinate the things that we loathe, that we can't stand, that we're annoyed by. And so, if creating listings is one of those things that you're like, I don't make time for listing because it's so draining and it takes forever. Well, it could be that we need to revisit your listing process. That might be it. um, Things you want to start doing or should be doing every single day. So if you're not walking and you feel like, okay, I should be walking, I should be doing some meal prep, or I should, things that you're not really doing right now. So the things you need to do and the things you should do can be two different things. But make a brain dump of those things, make a list of those things and start writing them out. And so you can open up a Google Sheet. Google is always my favorite, and Google Drive. And you literally could start with just a new Google Sheet and just a blank one. The way you get to Google, sorry, I did that very fast, is you log into your Gmail account, and I call it clicking on the Rubik's Cube. So go to the Rubik's Cube, and once you go to the Rubik's Cube, over here, I got a bunch of stuff in my email. I don't know what's here. But anyway, go to the Rubik's Cube and then click on Drive. Once you click on Drive, then you can, you'll get the little grid. And then once you're in the grid, um, you can choose Drive and click on New. And then after you click on New, then you can click on, once you click on New, you can get a Google Sheet, which is like using Excel. Um, and so the great thing about Google Sheets is you can access them from anywhere. You can access them from your Apple, iTunes. You can access them from your Android. You can access them from anywhere. So that's what I would, sorry about that, guys. So that's what I would encourage you to do versus creating an Excel spreadsheet or creating a Word doc. You can't access those things from anywhere. But the great thing about Google is you can access this stuff from anywhere. So as long as you have a mobile device, you can go and download Google Sheets, or you can just log it to your Gmail and then click on the Rubik's Cube and call it a day. Okay, we're going to take just a second here. 1 second. All right, like I said before, I'm probably going to be the distraction this week. So, all right. So once you create your Google Sheet or you click on a Google Sheet, you're going to get a blank sheet. And this is where we're going to write down the things we're going to put down when. So I'm going to make a column for when. And I'm going to write down the things that I already do, then things that I need, slash must do, and things that I want slash should do. And just go down the list. Write them down, write them down, write them down, and write down, you have a win column. You could put a win column next to each one of them if you want to. If you just want to use a universal win, that's fine. But start going down the list and just write in those boxes. That's what we're starting with, okay? You can name this file up here at the top. So just type in there your weekly planning session. It'll be on your Google Drive. And then we're going to add an extra tab. So yeah, start with the win. And then things that you already do every single week. So if you meditate, if you already have a time in which you do listings or create listings, a time in which you already do product research or sourcing, then do that. This is a great way to start that list that we talk about. Then the next thing it says, we're also going to take into account other activities that happen in our personal life. As a coach, the thing that I hear over and over again is I don't have time to do this business. So that's why I quit. I didn't have any time. I was having a hard time juggling school and e-commerce. I was having a hard time juggling family life and e-commerce. I was having a hard time juggling work and e-commerce. So I was like, I always tell people like, okay, let's build out a schedule where you can work in your e-commerce business into your life. So me, single mom, 2 special needs kids, I have to run kids to therapy 5 days a week. So I would work, and then after work, and I work from home. So I've been working from home since 2008. So that's just what it is. But the kids would come home from school. We'd have an after school routine. And most of the time they had to be at therapy. Like if they got home from school at 3:00, 3:15, then we had to be at therapy at 4:00. So I literally had to make sure that 3:15 that I pulled everything together. I had their dinner already, we call it the to-go dinner. So they could eat in the car. So my kids were used to eating in the car for like several years. But I had a to-go dinner that was already prepped and ready to go, handheld food, so that way they wouldn't completely destroy the back of my car. And they would get in the car as soon as they got home. They already had water bottles, and we would drive to the therapist. I would go check them in, and depending on the time of their therapy, from the therapy sessions were 45 minutes to an hour and a half, and I would go sit in the car. And I would call that working my business in the pockets. So if their therapy session was 45 minutes, I knew I had 30 minutes of solid work time. I would go check them in, make sure they were good to go back to my car, break out the laptop, and start working. And I would work for 30 minutes solid, and I would set a timer on my phone or carry around a little kitchen timer. And when that 30 minutes was up, I'd get out the car, go into the building, get my kids, and come back to the car, and we would go home. If it was an hour and a half, then I knew with an hour and a half, I had at least a good hour and 15 minutes of solid work time. So again, whatever it was I was going to do, I would do it, what I refer to as in the pockets. And so if your life is crazy like mine was, like they're like, how do you do this e-commerce thing and take care of your kids at the same time and be a single mom, and you got kids who run off and do all kinds of stuff? Like Nicholas is just like all over the scoreboard when he was younger. It was, I mean, he still is, but it's not as bad. I did it in the pockets. I called it, working my business in the pockets. So I would find those windows where I was still, or that I had to wait when I dropped them off for therapy, and I would work my business then. So getting in, one day a week, it'd be 30 minutes during the pocket, and the next day would be an hour and 15, and the next day would be whatever it was. And all of that adds up. That 30 minutes here, that hour there, that all of that adds up to time. I mean, my son even did therapy on Saturday mornings. So you can find the time. It's just you increasing your awareness of what you're doing with your time. You have to increase your awareness of what you're doing with your time, or where those time opportunities live. And if you find yourself as a person that gets sucked into the YouTube vortex, or you got to veg out on whatever, or, oh, the episode of whatever is coming on tonight, and I really need to sit down and watch that. Do you really? Like, if there was something I was watching, I would actually watch that during the time that I wasn't required to use my brain. And what I mean by that is, if it was a shipping activity where I had already printed out the labels and all I did was stuff into the box and then tape it and put the label on the inside, on the outside, then that didn't require a significant amount of brain juices. Like I'd already organized it enough to where it was just pick, pull, and ship. That's all it was. And so I would not do anything intense. So if you're a person that likes to binge watch specific shows, then move something that you're doing in your business to that window where you don't have to concentrate. And that's how I did it. And I did it for years. That's how I ran my business for years. I would average anywhere, some weeks I'd get in a good 5 to 8 hours of my business each week. And other weeks I would get in a good 15 to 20 hours in my business. Just depending on what happened. So there were weeks where I had to deal with my son's health and him having seizures and us going to the ER, and it just sucked up all my time. There's nothing that I could do about that. If I was going to the ER, I did always have some kind of mobile device with me so that I could do something while I waited. But if I needed my focus on him because he was a runner, then I knew I wasn't going to be able to do any work in that moment. So, in any case, find those windows where you can work your business and balance that against, your life, what's really happening in your life. I think I probably had one of the most insane schedules that anybody could ever have. If you saw it on paper, you'd be like, how does she even get anything done? And that required extreme organization, like extreme. And so some people would be overwhelmed maybe with my schedule. And initially, I built the schedule out of necessity because I found that e-commerce was making me money and I needed the money to pay for my therapies. I needed the money to pay for our special diet. I needed the money to pay for our supplements. And I also needed the money to pay for our special helper. So it was out of necessity that I was like, I got to keep this thing going because it's bringing me money. So I said, okay, since it's out of necessity, if you're at a situation where you're like, I have to figure out how to make this work, then you're going to be forced into that whole figuring out the schedule thing yourself. I also would work my business like 30 minutes in the morning. I would work in 30 minutes to an hour in the evening. So I found all these pockets throughout my day. On Saturdays, like right now, my boys are asleep, thank God. And um, I would get up before they did, and I would work for a couple of hours uninterrupted in my business. When they went to sleep, so if they went to sleep at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, I would try to fit not. I would try to fight not going to sleep, but I would work to get them um, in the bed so that way I could at least do 1 hour's worth of mindless work in my business, something that didn't require me to focus. Like if listings required me to focus, there I would not do listings during that window. So I'm just giving you some examples of how you fold your life, and I call it folding. Like if you're making dough or you're making something, I'm folding it into my life. I'm folding this, figuring out how to do this business in all of the little pockets of time that we have throughout our lives. So I encourage you to look at that and see, make your list of the things that you do in your personal life around around spiritual or maybe meditation, personal. Maybe there's some personal development. Maybe you have a standing lunch every single week with one of your girlfriends. That's fine. Still do that stuff. I'm not saying don't do the stuff that brings you joy, the stuff that helps you with your mental clarity, because sometimes we need those brain breaks. I'm gonna tell you, um, the stuff that you need to do around your fitness and your health, the stuff you need to do around family and household. Like list all of those things, and you can break them out into your different columns of already do, need to do, want to do. So you can break them out into that. So now we're going to get into your business a little bit more, and we're going to do this brain dump, and we're going to fill in those columns around your sourcing activities. So you should have sourcing activities as something, maybe you put it under your must column. I think it should be under your must column. These are things you should be doing in your business every week. So, this should be under your need or must column. Um, Research activities. So when we go talk about sourcing, we're talking about things that are coming up. These might be sourcing opportunities. If you got a private label product, then you're sourcing that thing for your private label product, and that's great. But if you don't have a private label product, or maybe you have a few different private label products, maybe you're coming up with private label products. I can say that really fast, can't I? Maybe you're coming up with private label products like every couple of, a couple times every other week or something. because you're testing a product and then rolling out the next one and testing another product and rolling out the next. That's fine. Whatever your process is, I don't know what it is, but there should be some level of sourcing activity. If you have a private label product that you've been steady with and you're not really doing anything else with it, that's great. Congratulations to you. There might be some sourcing opportunities around things that are complementary to your private label product. So look at that as maybe an opportunity. The next one is research related activities. So this is product research, listing research, keyword research. These are things that you should need to be doing in your business. How much time you dedicate to that is a different story, but you at least need to have some windows of time where you do that activity. Listing related activities are listings, creating your titles, your descriptions, getting your images or creating your images, setting your price, maybe cross listing on other platforms, and running your listings to Ping or Ping Farm, which is also part of traffic, but so you can get organic searches. But again, if you do that keyword research, it's going to make it easier for you to create those listings. And so you should be listing every single week. And if you can list every single day, depending on your e-commerce model, I don't know if you're doing drop shipping, I don't know if you're doing print on demand, I don't know if you're doing private label, white label, like all of this is going to require you to list, no matter what. Then you have shipping related activities, whether you're shipping it yourself or somebody else is shipping for you. There's some level of shipping activity that's happening in your business. So that should be something that falls under things that you need to do every single week. Whether it is shipments to go to Amazon FBA or WFS, that's Walmart Fulfillment Center services. Whether it's going to your prep center or your fulfillment center, whether you're doing the shipments yourself to your customers as orders come in, like there's some level of a shipping activity. If you're doing drop shipping or print on demand, then you may be confirming that the shipments went out, and you're just making sure that you got tracking numbers for the stuff, that whoever is fulfilling the order or your integration is working as expected. But again, this is something you should be checking, because if you're not checking it and shipments don't go out, what's going to happen? You're going to have to issue some refunds. So this should not be a surprise to you when your shipments aren't going out and then you get a notice from the customer saying, I'd like to get a refund because I haven't gotten it. And that's because you're not paying attention to your business. So be intentional about your business and include this as an activity that you should be doing every single day or at least every week at a minimum. Administrative tasks. Administrative tasks are the one thing that I feel like most people who do this business run away from, and I will raise my hand from time to time. I run away from this. I don't run away from it all the time. I am on top of it most of the time, but there are times when I'm like, this is the brain drain. And so when it comes to the brain drain activities, things that are going to require you to focus, this is the thing that people sometimes run away from. They're ready to do the fun stuff. Like if I'm doing retail arbitrage, going out to the stores is fun. Yeah, it's fun. But if I'm not doing retail arbitrage and I have, because that's a fun activity. You get to see stuff, you get to touch it. It's new things. You get to buy things, you get to go home, and then now you got to do something with it. Okay. And maybe doing something with those products that you buy is even fun. But sitting down and doing paperwork, nobody wants to do that. But this is a business. So I just want you to think about this. Like if this is your kryptonite in your e-commerce business, for some people, this is their kryptonite, the administrative tasks, all of the running your platform reports and filing your taxes and doing some bank reconciliation and balancing your budget or creating a budget, tracking your expenses and your receipts, doing order inventory. So ordering new inventory is probably it's not a boring thing, but anyway, checking expiration dates for things and auditing your inventory. That one, nobody likes to do that. It took us like 2.5 months to do the auditing of all my inventory. And I still feel like we left some stuff off. But anyway, creating your standard operating procedures and reviewing and adjusting your prices. Like there's tools that you can use for reviewing and for adjusting your prices, so you can put that on autopilot. There's different tools you can use for some of this. But at some point, you're going to have to look at the results of the tools so that you can make better decisions or you can make adjustments to the tools. So all I'm saying is you got admin tasks, and I'm sure that there's more, but I just kind of gave you the high level ones as you should be doing every single week in your business. So go and figure out, okay, write this down on your list. And some of the tasks that I list, like what are the things that you feel like you're falling short on? You got to do your taxes. That should go under the need. Okay. need, must do. Okay, then educational activities. This one I do talk about often. Like, what are the things you want to get better at? It is April. You got May, June, July, August, and I stopped there because I always include September in Q4. But that's just me. I know it's not part of Q4, but in my mind, that's where I place it. But in any case, what are the things that you feel like you need to get better at now so that you're ready for Q4? What are those things? So maybe you want to get better at creating more effective listings, getting better so that your listings come up more organically. So if listing is one of the things that you feel like you're not doing a good job on, and maybe you want to spend some time getting better at creating titles, just dissect that. So now I'm going to focus for 2 weeks on getting better at titles. Then I'm going to focus 2 weeks on getting better at descriptions. I'm going to focus 2 weeks on getting better at creating images. So if you do that, 2 weeks at a time, 4 weeks at a time, whatever, you can even dedicate a month to it. But each one of those incrementally over time, you get better at it. Then what's going to happen in Q4? You'll create better listings. If you're challenged with doing better keyword research, so I want to get better at keyword research. So there's keyword research tools, always helpful. But again, if you want to get better at it, so that you create better listings long term. So maybe you spend the rest of the month of April and the beginning of May, the first week or two of May, focusing on during your education window. I am going to do engage in 1 hour of learning around keyword research, 1 hour at a time. So I'm doing 1 hour at a time, and then I'm implementing exactly what I learned throughout the week. If I do that over 6 weeks, in 6 weeks' time, I'm going to be really good at keyword research because I'm doing this incrementally and then I'm implementing it, whatever I learned, I'm immediately implementing it into my business. And so that is when it sticks in your brain. That's when you build that routine in your brain and you're training your brain. This is how you create really good listings, by doing this keyword research activity. So many of us, we take on training and we learn something new and then we don't do anything with it. And so what I always try to do is whatever it is that I need to learn how to do, get better at, how can I figure out how to start executing that thing now, real time? How can I fold it into my existing life right now, real time? And so if you take it on that way, where you dedicate at least 1 hour a week at a minimum to the activity of education, and then you figure out what it is I want to get better at, make a list. I want to get better at creating listings. I want to get better at keyword research. I want to get better at, I don't know, Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads. I want to get better at whatever it happens to be. Write the things down that you feel like you want to get better at or you want to learn how to do. Maybe you suck at being able to decipher the reports in your back office, or maybe you don't even know what the reports are in your back office and you literally have just been running your business for the last 6 months and you haven't run one report. So then you get intentional. So then that way you learn what the reports are that are available to you. You run those reports, and then during your admin time, you review the reports. So again, immediately implementing into your life whatever you've learned is going to help you, that information stick into your brain so much better versus taking a class and then never using that, or using it, trying to use it 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a month later. It is not going to be as fresh in your brain. So learning something and then immediately doing the thing that you just learned is really going to help you get better at your business. You're only going to grow. You're going to, and your business is going to perform much better. So write down those things you need to do, you need to learn, or you want to learn, or you want to get better at. And you can make a list of those things, put them on your spreadsheet of just your brain dump. Because again, we're just doing a brain dump. And then last but not least, those things around organic traffic or paid traffic. So if you're running your e-commerce business and you don't have a lot of money, to throw at marketing, then you may be forced to get creative. One of the things that'll help you to get some traffic is organic. You got to come up with organic searches. And so with the organic searches, um, there's different things you can do, like run your listings through Pink Farm and sharing your listings on different social media platforms, or writing a blog around your listings, creating a marketing video that you can put on social media, optimizing your listings for the keywords that are in it, and figuring out the titles, the words that are in the title and the sequence of the words. Like, all of these things are going to help you organically. And then again, if you're saying that you want to run paid ads, but you really suck at it right now, or you haven't figured out how to run an Amazon campaign, or you don't know how to do eBay promotions, like you don't know how to do any of these things, then again, putting that down is something I want to get better at. Be intentional about learning it 1 hour every single week, and then implementing it in your business, making time for it in the week. So you need traffic on your listings. And some of the things, depending on what you're selling, you're going to get some organic traffic anyway, especially if you're piggybacking off of existing listings or things that are already selling or will be selling. So an example of that is you sell things that are already naturally, organically in the flow of what people would be buying anyway. Um, Easter is one of those things. People are going to be buying Easter stuff. So you decide 6 weeks ago that you're going to sell Easter stuff. Start selling 6 weeks ago. 5, 4, 3, 2. And you've been getting sales for Easter the entire time because you were intentional about that. So if we step forward, today is April the 9th. So we go out 6 weeks from now. What are the things that are going to be selling 6 weeks from now? Well, Mother's Day will have already passed, though, but Mother's Day is still in the flow. So you can have some Mother's Day gifts. Graduation for sure. Memorial Day. There's a bunch of things that happen throughout the month of May that are a big deal. People will be buying stuff for summer and, kids getting out of school. So again, those are things that can help you in your business get some organic traffic. So you're engaging in some intentional planning. And back up at the top, again, it says sourcing 2 to 20 weeks in advance. That's what I'm talking about. These are things that are going to happen organically already. So write those down. So now that you have this brain dump list, now we're going to talk about what do you do typically every single day, and then which day do you want to, or do you do each one of these tasks? So earlier I said, when do you do these things? If you're doing meal prep already, when do you normally do it? But let's say you're not doing meal prep. So when would you like to do it? What do you think might be the best time to do it in your business? And figure that out. And then the next thing is, I do say to organize your brain dump by morning, afternoon, or evening, or organize it by time. So if you organize it by time, we're organizing by the time blocks. I'm going to take a cough drop now. And you'll see my voice like goes up and down because my nose goes from stuffed to unstuffed. It goes from running to not running, to my voice goes from froggy to clear. It is just insane. I'm like, okay, I get all of them in one session. All of them. So we're going to just suck on this cough drop and hopefully open up my nose a little bit more. Break out the peppermint, and then my nose will run. And I apologize for all of this. I am the distraction today. So we're going to go through, and we're going to start assigning when do we normally do these things. And this, again, is your template. You've kind of done this brain dump. I'm giving you things to think about, activities you should be doing in your business or need to be doing in your business if you're running a business. And you need to figure out, when do you think would be the best time to do it. Now, when you do this when, which is what time of day or when you do these activities, make sure you 100% think about when is your most productive time of day. When are you able to think the clearest, or you feel like you get the most things done? So if you feel like first thing in the morning, when my brain is fresh, right after I wake up or right after I work out, my brain is fresh, this is like the best time for me to do anything, then that's what I would encourage you to do. That's your win. And you want to take those hard tasks, those things that require a lot of brain juices, or maybe that you don't do as well right now, and you want to pluck them into that most productive time of the day. Maybe, I say maybe just for a second, because if you run an e-commerce business and one of the things you struggled with is building the habit of consistency around creating listings, maybe what you do is you create listings during your most productive time of the day. So you need to gauge which one is more important. If first thing in the morning, and that's your most productive time of the day, then that's when I would maybe create my listings, because you don't make any money unless the listings are up. Period. I don't care what kind of e-commerce business you're running. If you don't have any listings, if you don't have anything for people to buy, you're not going to make any money. You got to have something for people to buy. Okay, so you got to have listings. They got to be able to find it. So they can't buy what they can't find. So the listings have to exist. So once you get your listing game on, let's say you spend the next month working on your listing game, then you can start focusing on some of the other things that maybe you do poorly or don't do as well as you would like to. Okay. So your win might evolve, is what I'm trying to get at. What you do now in that window, if you get better at it, you may have to move other things into that window. You may have to reorganize your day, so that you can improve some of the other areas in which you might be weak. So I'm going to say this. When you're thinking about the win, hypothetically, I got the quotation marks in the air. The other thing is, where it makes sense, put the things together in your schedule that have a natural flow. When you're trying to go against the grain, when you're trying to be salmon and swim upstream, going against the flow of water, you're going to make it hard for you to run your business. So, some of those things, as you move them around, they need to be in the natural flow of things. They need to be in the what is the easiest way to operate your business. You don't need to be going against the grain sometimes. Sometimes you're going to go against the grain, and that's just the way it is. That's where things fall. Because, I tell my kids all the time, life is hard. Life is hard. And that is all of us swimming upstream like salmon when we have those days where we're like, geez, Louise, this day just killed me. It was tough. It was hard. It was whatever. So I just want you to keep that in mind, that as much as you can, do things in the natural order of when you do them. If you're already doing things like, going to church on Sundays and going to Bible study on Wednesday, that's the natural flow of your life. And these are things that bring you peace. These are things that help you to center. These are things that bring you joy. If that activity is, move that around on your schedule. You won't move it. It'll stay where it is. If you find things that you're doing in your business that are going really, really well, and they bring you peace, they bring you joy, they're serving you well, they're streamlining or automating your business in any kind of way, or streamlining and automating your business and your life in any kind of way, then we're not going to move those things around. It's going to be what it's going to be. But the things that you can move around, move those things around, make adjustments to them, and try to put them in a sequential order that logically makes sense from a natural order, natural flow of things. Okay? So, creating listings versus creating shipments, one may make more sense to do before the other. Or maybe you say, okay, every other day I'm going to work on listings, and on the odd days I'll work on shipments. Again, do things in the natural order when things would naturally happen in your business. Because, of course, when you create listings, there's a whole bunch of subtasks that happen with that. So, what I always like to do is I would always put my research activities right before my listing activities, so that way I didn't have to go back and forth. I would make sure that the research was done first on the products that I was about to list, or I would make sure the research was done on the products that I was potentially about to source. So my research always came before sourcing activities, and it always came before listing activities, because of the fact that it made the listing activity go much, 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 much faster. And it also made the sourcing activity go much, 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 much faster. So an example of that is, if I am on my lunch hour and I go online, I do some online arbitrage, and I go do some, not online arbitrage, but I'm doing online research. And I'm going to go see what are the products that people are buying for Mother's Day. So I'm going to do some random Google searches. I'm going to check on Pinterest. I'm going to check on, top 20 products that people bought for Mother's Day of 2021. I'm just going to go do that research in 2020 and 2019. So I'm going to go see what those products were from Good Housekeeping and all that other stuff, and Elle and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to use that information to my benefit. I'm going to write down those products. So now I'm going to go try to see if I can source them. Hold on just 1 second. Oh my gosh. So now I'm going to go see if I can source those particular products. And I would also do that if I needed to do quick sourcing. Because again, when you're a single mom with two special needs kids, your ability to go into the store and spend hours does not exist. It does not exist. You have to be intentional about what am I going to the store to source and what am I going to pull. So I would literally do speed shopping. I'd go through the end caps very quickly, the middle aisle very quickly, and then I already had a list of what I was going to the store to source anyway. So again, making those intentional decisions. But the only way I was able to do that is I did a little bit of research before we left. I did my research in the pockets. So then that way I knew what I needed to pick up. So if we were leaving therapy and I needed to source really, really quick while I was sitting in the car waiting for the kids, I would make sure that I set aside, 30 minutes or 15 minutes worth of product research to figure out which stores had what. And then I would go to those stores on the way home. It was in the flow of naturally going home. And if I was passing by that store, I'd stop, go in, source a couple of things real quick because I didn't have a lot of time. I had a child who was a runner, so I didn't have a lot of time to do this. Go source a bunch of stuff real quick, load it up in the car, and drive home. So again, I was intentional. So put things in order so that it makes sense that this is the natural flow of things, natural flow of life. Okay. I hope that helps you. Please write that down. If this is helping you, like, tell somebody about this. Okay. If this is really helping you. And I encourage you, I haven't mentioned it, to get the ecom planner because some of the stuff I talk about, you can definitely use your ecom planner to be able to do this stuff. And it'll make things work a lot easier and flow a lot easier for you. Okay. So we've taken our brain dump. I said brain dump. And now we are organizing it by morning, afternoon, or evening, or by time. Then after we organize it by morning, afternoon, and evening, we're going to make sure that we take into account our goals that we're trying to build or that we're trying to reach. You're going to have some mini habits, mini goals, things that you put on your must or should list. Maybe drinking water or going for a walk is something you should be doing. And we're going to time for it on this little brain dump that we just did. Okay. Habit stacking, routines that you currently don't have in place and you feel like you should have in place. So I just used the example of the listing routine. So that is, again, doing a little bit of product research before you actually start the listing. That way you don't have to go back and forth. You don't have to do product research when you just want to do hardcore listing. That takes your listing time from being an hour to create one singular listing to it knocks it down to something more reasonable. So then you're all about volume at that point. You can go from creating a listing in 1 hour to creating 6 or 7 listings in an hour. And then that means that if you have 6 or 7, I'm just going to do some math for you real quick. If I spend an hour every single day listing, at the end of the week, I've created 7 listings. 7 days, 1 hour, 7 listings. Okay. Am I going to get some sales? Yeah, I'll get some sales. All right. Versus I just want to burn through listings. So if I want to burn through creating listings, if I did the product research before or did the listing research before, then I can create the listings much faster. So if I'm creating 7 listings an hour, 7 times 7 is 49. Do I have a better chance of getting more sales if I have 49 listings up or if I have 7 listings up? I have a better chance of getting more sales if I have 49 listings up. So I'm just saying, some of this, looking at your routine, looking at the flow of how you run your business and dissecting what you do, maybe you need to take 2 weeks to assess some of the things that you feel like are your biggest bottlenecks, the things you don't do well. And then take that hour of education time and use that to your advantage to get better at that thing. Time blocks, I think I beat a dead horse with that, but just using time blocks to help you manage your time more efficiently, to regain control of your time, because maybe you've lost control of your time. Maybe you're so settled into and so comfortable like a snuggie with your procrastination that you don't even see that you have windows of time that you can be working on something that's going to make you money. So, other thing I can say about that is, you know, having COVID, it's horrible. It's a double because it definitely makes you sit down and think about your mortality, think about what you're leaving behind, what the things that you will leave undone when you leave, period. And then, on the back end of that, the inability to focus and to concentrate for periods of time, like significant periods of time. I mean, I'm on my game much better than I was in October. Like, you couldn't ask me anything in October. I couldn't think of what 2 plus 2 was. Okay, I'm just being honest. It was very hard for me. It was hard for me to think about some of the basics, some of the simple stuff. But in any case, um, I don't know why my nose decides that it just wants to go straight to closed. In any case, time blocks can actually be a blessing. And if you don't want to do time blocks, then you can do a checklist. You can write out a to-do list every single day. If that works for you, much better. Do what works for you until you're at a place where you're like, okay, I admit that I have a problem and I'm ready to regain my time. And I know that sitting down and setting an assignment for every single hour will actually help me to regain time. I might be overwhelmed. I might be emotionally stressed out about it. I'm going to work towards it every day. I might fail at it a little bit. I might build the worst schedule ever, but at least I'm going to try it out. I'm going to try it on, see how it fits, walk around in it, see how it works out for me. If it doesn't work out, I'll tweak it. I'll do it again. I'll tweak it. I'll do it again. So you're going to have, some of the things that you're going to say, this needs to be in a time block because of the way my life is. And then setting smart goals. Smart goals are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic or relevant, and time based. And you're going to see that at the bottom of this. So, and the next step of this journey is, like I said, to consider using a Google Sheet to do this brain dump and to begin the process of building your template. So if we go back to our Google Sheet, you can click on this little plus down here to add a new sheet. So this is where I'm going to rename this one. If you left click on it, you can click on rename. And this is the brain dump. Okay. This is your brain dump of ideas for the week. Okay. Now I'm going to click on the plus. I'm going to rename this. This is our weekly plan or weekly template. Let me say template. Okay. So we're going to start off with time blocks. And I've done this a couple of times. I'm moving my tea now. We're talking Monday, Sunday. Oh, Lord have mercy. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay. So now that we have this, if you're whatever your time block is, so 7 a.m., 8 a.m. If you start at 6 a.m., that's fine. And 9 a.m., 10 a.m., then 11 a.m., 12 a.m., 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. You get the gist. So you may go all the way down and you're going to set some time. The one thing I would encourage you to do is I would freeze the top row so that way as you continue to type and you expand these out. So let's say you expand this out a little bit further. Okay. Sometimes me and my mouse, we fight with each other. You could click on the between the A and the 1 and you can select the font and the font size you want to use for this whole thing. So if you want Arial or you want some other font, you can choose that. I've made my size so big that I can't see anything else. But you can change your font if you don't like any of these and move it to something else. So I'll change it to this. And then the other thing is you can also change your typing, your font size. So if you want to change your font size, again, select the whole sheet, click on the drop down and change your font size. The next thing is, now that I've kind of moved all of these, if I want to freeze these, then I can click on view and I'm going to freeze the first row and I'm going to click on view again and freeze the first column. What that does is as I continue to type and I go across, what you'll see is now that time always stays there and that column always stays there. So you don't get terribly lost as you go through that process. So hopefully that helps somebody if you're trying to build this out in Google Sheets, and then you'll always be able to reference this in Google Sheets. Okay. So then the next thing is that we are going to take all the stuff that we had in our brain dump and what we had for when, and we're going to fill it in on each one of the days. So if you're going to church, you write down when you go to church, and pad some time there. So we're just doing them in hour blocks. So pad some time. If church is 1 hour, don't just put 1 hour. Like you might want to pad some time. It's going to take you 30 minutes to get there. You probably got 30 minutes of prep. Like, pad some time in there. That's your church related activity. And again, this is just a template. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to revisit this multiple times. And so again, it's not going to be perfect. Okay. So we're going to start assigning using our lovely little spreadsheet that we have right here. And we're going to start filling in all the blocks from the stuff that we wrote in our brain dump. If this is making sense to you, type in the comments. Yeah, okay, I get it. I understand what you're doing here. Because again, we're just building a template. It's not going to be perfect. This is your starter template. You're going to redo this a couple of times, okay? Because you're going to try it on, as Ted Lasso says, and you're going to try it on, see how it fits, walk around in it. If you don't like it, you're going to tweak it. There will be things that you're going to tweak, and there will be things you won't tweak because logically it makes the most sense to keep it where it is, and then just to build the habit of embracing this is what we need to do. So an example might be, if walking first thing in the morning based on your life and what's happening in your life and your entire lifestyle is the best thing for you, then you're not going to move that around. You're just going to keep that where it is, and you're going to have to be more intentional about getting up to go walk. Okay? Things like that. It's not something you're going to move, and you just have to build that habit. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to test this template for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Okay? Now, why do we get a template? Why do we create a template? We create a template so that we can actually build an actual. Your template is your guide for your daily activities and your actual. So whatever you build here for Sunday, morning, afternoon, and evening, it will translate to what you do. Let me go back up here. It'll translate to what you do. I'm all stuffy. I hate this, guys. I hate this more than you realize. It will translate to what you see in your weekly activities, morning, afternoon, and evening. So you'll fill in what those things are so that I have a template of what I'm doing, and then now I'm going to fill in the actual. So if my template says I am, and my template says I am listing on Tuesdays at 3:00, listing every Tuesday, or listing every day of the week at 2:00. Then my actual is going to say, what am I actually listing? What am I actually listing? Why do I care about what I'm actually listing? Well, I mentioned before, being intentional about the things that you want to sell, depending on what it is you do, what method of e-commerce you're doing. So if I'm doing print on demand, I am going to, and I'm focused on summer, then I'm going to start now. I probably should have started before now, but anyway, now I'm going to create some summer related designs. I'm going to come up with some summer related products, and I'm going to list them now. Okay. Maybe I am focused on back to school because again, April for me is back to school. So I'm going to source when I have a sourcing on my schedule. This is a sourcing window. And so what am I going to be sourcing? At least one of those days, I'm going to source back to school. I'm going to go ahead and get it. I'm going to order it. If I already know who the supplier is, if I already know what I'm ordering or where I'm going to get it from, I'm going to go ahead and source for it. I'm going to be intentional about sourcing for back to school now. Okay. So that's what I mean by that whole advanced planning, 2 to 20 weeks in advance. All right. If you're just now joining us, I'm just telling you right now. First of all, I'm congested. So I have been picking up whatever this is that's out here in the universe, and it is taking over my life. I am partially stuffed up. I'm sorry about that. It comes and goes. I'm sucking on a cough drop and drinking some tea. My name is Nicole Whitlock. I'm with eCom Sellers. If you need to schedule a coaching session around getting more organized and structured in your e-commerce business, feel free to do so. You can go to ecomsellers.com, click on coaching, and click on 20-minute coaching session. And you can schedule a session with me. I'll be more than happy to help you on your journey. It's absolutely free. In addition to that, I want to encourage you to get an ecom planner. This is where you can start organizing your day and organizing your business and making some intentional decisions in the way that you run your business. Okay? So we are on the actual, and we're using the template to make decisions about the actual. So again, the exercise we went through before is all about creating the template. Once you're done with creating the template, you don't have to create it again if it is the template you're going to keep for a while. I have multiple templates. I have templates for with schools in session, with schools out, and when we're into sports. So those are the three main ones that I have. I have a couple of sub ones that I have around certain months. Like tax season, like, okay, I have a completely separate template because I have to do more administrative work. Really should be doing that in February or March. But anyway, but I do. I have multiple templates. So you'll find over time that you're going to create multiple templates, and it's okay. And you'll tweak them and, adjust them. We're going to review as we get ready to do our actual. We're going to review our plan for the month. So at the beginning of this call, I said we have a monthly plan. And that monthly plan is, something that you build. We build it the last Sunday of the month. And whatever that monthly plan is, that is, we're going into the second full week of April. So we're going to be mindful of the things that we wrote on our monthly planner for the second full week of April. So we're going to go back to this schedule right here and say, okay, what did we write down for the second full week of April that we wanted to get done in our business and then we needed to do in our life? Grandma is coming in from out of town, whatever it happens to be. What's happening in that second full week? We also want to increase our awareness of what were the goals for the month. Because again, at this point, we have 3 weeks to accomplish all the goals that we write here. So using the schedule to help you make better decisions about what you're going to do, that's how we're going to use this. Okay. We're going to go back to this, and we're going to figure out what the priorities are for the week. So based on what we wrote in our template, we're going to determine what are the top 5 or top priorities that I need to focus on this week. What are those priorities? It could be that this is the week in which I need to focus on my personal taxes. It could be this is the week in which I need to prepare for summer camp or something like that. Like, it depends on what it is that's happening in your life. What's the priority? And then from your business standpoint, if you're going into back to school, because back to school can be a big money maker. It's not just about school supplies, guys. And back to school is a big money maker for you, then being intentional about sourcing for back to school, doing product research for back to school this week may be extremely important because of the fact that it's going to take a while for those items to come in. The other thing is that, you want to think about Prime Day. Prime Day is coming up. It's more than likely going to be in July. I don't have any inside scoop, but the industry seems to think that Amazon's going to do it again in July. And so if they do it in July, it's going to actually cause all platforms to get increased sales. All the ships. The rising tide is going to raise every single ship. So that means that you should be sourcing for the things that people might be buying in July, and you should be doing that now. So when you build your actual, be like, okay, what is the actual activity I'm going to be doing in my product research window? I'm going to be doing product research for things that I want to sell for Prime Day. What am I going to be sourcing and ordering right now? I'm going to be sourcing right now things that I'm going to sell in Prime Day. See how that works? See how that works. Is this helping you guys? Is this helping anybody? Am I all by myself? I'm probably all by myself at this point. But in any case, figure out what the priorities are going to be for the week. And then what are the habits that you need to build? There's going to be some habits that you actually need to build. So what are those habits? What are the things that you need to focus on that you're not really doing right now? If you feel like the habit of walking is really going to give me the clarity that I really need, and I really want to build this habit, then put it on your agenda to do for the next 30 to 60 or 90 days every single morning. If you're a person that you find that you don't drink enough or you don't get enough protein first thing in the morning, then that needs to be a priority. Then I'm going to make sure that as soon as I get up, I eat some protein within the first 30 minutes of waking up. If that's you, write it down as a habit that you want to create. If listing is something that has been your kryptonite, your arch nemesis in your business. Then again, writing down that you're going to make sure that you're going to list every single day. Don't be generic, don't be vague. Do not do that. We're going to be specific. If you want to start off with a mini goal, you can say, I'm going to list one item every single day. If you do one item every single day, you're clearly going to do more than one item. You're going to list more than one. You're probably going to list 5 or 10, but you're only required, per your habit tracker, to do one. What does that do for you? That gives you the opportunity to actually build the habit of consistency around listing. So if you list one thing a day, then by the end of 30 days, in that 30-day window, like in the first week, maybe you list one thing a day. Then you move it to 3 things a day. Then you move it to 5 things a day. Then you move it to 7 things a day. And then at the 5th week, you move it to 10 items a day. So you're gradually increasing. But the thing is that the one thing that you're doing every single day now is that you're listing every single day now. All right, so now let's go look at the schedule. I'm going to pull up an actual template schedule that I built, and hopefully this is helping you guys on your business. I got to step away for just a second again. All right, let's look at the schedule. This has been the craziest session. It's probably good that Clubhouse was not available this morning because this is the craziest session ever, okay? All right, so let's go do this. Let's do this, Brutus. Let's look at the schedule. All right. So this is the schedule that I created in this little document. It's so tiny. So tiny. Probably should blow that back up. All right. So this is the template, and then you'll figure out the actual. So in this example, this is a person that works at 9 to 5. This is not my schedule. This is just a schedule. And so this is a person that works at 9 to 5. You'll notice that there's some things that they do every single day, and there's some things that they don't do every single day. So in this example, they're doing like some planning on Sunday mornings and Saturday mornings. They're being intentional about what they're doing with their time because they probably got kids. I don't know. Yep. Oh, and they do have kids in this example. Okay. Then the next thing. So those are the first two things. They're starting out for the 7 o'clock time block. And then in the morning, Monday through Friday, they're doing some meditation. Maybe that's a 15-minute activity, and they're exercising. Maybe that's a 30-minute activity. So that's really 45 minutes, or maybe it's 45 minutes of exercise. I don't know. But they've got some meditation time. They're being intentional about that. That could be, maybe they're doing Bible reading, their morning scriptures, whatever that happens to be. And they're doing that Monday through Friday. So now we go into 8 o'clock. They're planning their day and they're prepping for work in this example. So somewhere in the middle of that, they're getting their kids ready for school, so getting them out the door. But they're planning their day and they're prepping to get off to work. When I say planning their day, setting aside anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, 5 to 15 minutes every single day to work in your, planning your actual day, being intentional about the things you need to get done today. That's a good thing. So make sure that somewhere in your life that you're actually setting aside anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes every day to plan for tomorrow. So you're being intentional. All right. The other thing that you'll notice is on the weekends, they're working with their VA on Saturday and Sunday because they work up 9 to 5. So they're working with their VA, and they're also engaging in a listing activity on Sundays, and they're engaging in a shipping related activities on Saturday. So I want to point out a couple of things. Notice as we go through this, how many days a week they're doing listing, how many days a week they're doing shipping. Okay. And again, this doesn't mean that you have to physically ship yourself. This could be you're just checking to make sure that the shipments went out, if you're doing drop shipping or print on demand or something else, or if you're working with a fulfillment center, whatever that happens to be. Then Monday through Friday, they're working from 9 until 1, Monday through Friday. On Sundays, they've got church, so they've got a time block. Church may only be an hour, hour and a half, but you see that there's 3 hours in there. Because again, you got to get prepped for church, and then you got to get to church, and then after church is over, there's always that you're walking out of church, and you got to have that 15-minute conversation with whatever family that is, and then you're ready to drive home. So again, that's 3 hours. It's probably not the full 3 hours, but again, you have that time block so that you're not stressed for everything is so tight. On Saturdays, we have like sporting activities for the kids for a couple of hours. So I see that flow of time. As we go down, just paying attention to the schedule itself. Um, oops. Okay. So now that we go down and let's look at what's happening on their lunch hour. On their lunch hour, Monday through Friday, they have actual time set aside to do research on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays sourcing. What does that mean? Well, they could be doing some product research so that way on their way home on Monday night at 6 p.m., they can source, speed source. Again, that's what I used to do. I used to do the research and then I go speed source. So that takes your sourcing from being in the store for an hour for sourcing to like 15 to 30 minutes. Like you're focused on what you're going in there to get. And you can do this even better these days because you can place your order like with Walmart and you can just literally drive by and pick it up. You can pre-buy things and then you can just go pick it up, or you can have it shipped to the house. Like some of this you can do much better than you would be able to do in the past. Those stores that are not like a Walmart, and you got to do what you got to do. On Tuesdays, you can see that they're doing some level of continuing to source. This could be online arbitrage. Instead of leaving the building for work, they're doing some online arbitrage. And so they've got their products that they've already sourced. So they maybe did the product research for those on Monday for I'm going to drive home and on my way home pick up this. And also I'm going to, this same thing, I may be ordering it online. So I'm going to source those things. Or it could be that's my online sourcing for back to school. So again, figuring out what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. Then the next thing is on in the evening at 6 o'clock, shipping. So maybe, just maybe, I've already packaged up the shipments early in the morning and I'm dropping them off at FedEx or whatever. Or it could be I come home as the kids are doing their homework, if that's a routine that they do their homework first or whatever, or they do their chores or whatever they're doing. I go ahead and I package up some shipments so that they're ready to go. And I do a little bit of product research or I do a little bit of keyword research because later on tonight, I'm actually going to be creating listings in this scenario. Okay. So some of this flows in this order because of the fact that if I do product research first, then I'm going to source, and then later on that evening, I might list. I do some sourcing at lunch hour, and I'm not really spending the entire hour sourcing. I'm going to eat. So in this example, I'm doing maybe 30 minutes of eating, and then 30 minutes of sourcing before my time is up. Okay, so you can split that up if whatever the activity is, because we know that the person is eating at lunchtime. Then you just incorporate that because there's going to be that chit chat if you're going into the office, that chit chat at the water cooler, at the microwave, at the whatever, if you depending on what type of business you work for, and so you're going to have that wasted time, and then you can get back and say, okay, I'm going to focus for at least 30 minutes on sourcing on my time. Okay, or maybe you eat in your car. I don't know. Then so it kind of flows like that. And you'll see each one of the days. So we have like on Thursday, we've got sourcing related activity. And then I have a shipment related activity. So maybe I'm coming home to ship, or maybe I'm dropping off stuff on my way home. Either way. I have shipping in this example. I have shipping on Sunday. I have shipping on Tuesday. I have shipping on Thursday. And I have shipping on Saturday. Because we had shipping on Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm shipping 4 days a week. And it could be that I'm doing shipping auditing. I don't know. But it's a shipping activity. You're going to put the details behind that on the actual. Okay. Then we have, and then the same thing with research. So it could be product research, keyword research. It could be listing research. Again, all of that. So now, as we continue through this exercise of looking at it, the thing I want to point out is on Saturdays, I have a big block for sourcing. That could be physical sourcing going out, or it could be sourcing online, or it could be whatever. But then I have a big block of shipping. So in this example, this person might be doing retail arbitrage. So they do 3 hours of sourcing out in the universe, and then they come home. And on Sunday, they do all those shipments off to maybe Amazon, FBA, or WFS. So I'm making time for whatever work I'm doing on Saturday, making time to be able to do the matching activity on Sunday in this example. I have a listing activity here. And as I scroll down, you'll notice that I have listing activities every single day in the evening after the kids go to bed. So I have a bedtime routine with the kids. That's dedicated time. We're doing homework. That's dedicated time. Um, the other thing is I'm prepping for tomorrow. A couple other things is I have administrative tasks on here twice. So at least I'm doing 2 hours a week of that. I have 1 hour a week for education, so something I'm going to learn. I also have household prep. This may be where you're doing some meal planning. In this example, a person is doing meal planning, prepping 2 hours out of the week, and then I'm prepping for other things regarding my business for 1 hour for the week. I want to be intentional about the things that I do, so I'm going to take some time to plan that out a little bit for the entire week. So, this is again an example schedule, and there's so many different ways in which you can slice and dice it, make it work for you. Um, don't this is again a fake schedule that I created. I also started one for a person who works from home, but again, I haven't finished that one. So I'm gonna move on to the next thing, and then we're gonna wrap this up. If my mouse is gonna cooperate with me, okay. So now we're into the things that are going to help you in your business, and I am going to break this out for just 1 second. Okay. So I got some really good some ideas, and I just copied those in this week from other sources. So the first one is the mini habits, mini goals. If you're trying to just build the habit of consistency around something, then a mini goal is a good one to tackle. I'm going to create one listing a day, every single day. And why am I doing this? Because I'm really just trying to build the habit of listing on a regular basis. Maybe I'm not listing on a regular basis and I really just need to build the habit of listing all the time. Then habit stacking, putting together things that logically make sense. So, I dissected the whole listing routine. And one of the things that I find that people have a hard time with when they're going through and dissecting how they do listings is maybe they are, in my example, I needed to take pictures before I got into the listing routine because it would break the flow of things. I just wanted to be able to take my stack and list. I didn't want to have to stop, take pictures, rename the images. I didn't want to have to stop, go do keyword research, and then come back and then finish creating the listing. When I have to stop, go do something else, and then come back to it, I'm breaking the flow of which I'm doing things. So I try to put things in sequential order or logical order. Some of the things that I'm going to have to stop and go do, I wanted to do them before we got started. So I'd always know what I had to list. I had a laundry basket next to my desk that had all the stuff that I was going to list. And so when my kids were eating dinner, I would take pictures of those products so that way that picture taking was already done. Maybe when the kids were in the morning or in the evening, I would do some research for the keywords and also so that I would already have a note on the top of the items for what the keywords were. The same thing as when I would go out and do a retail arbitrage, I would go ahead and take all the labels off of it as soon as I came in the house. So take all the labels off, clean up the product. So then that way, when I was ready to take pictures, it was so much easier versus having to stop, clean it up. So if you're coming in the house with bags anyway, and you got to take those bags, you got to put them away. As you're putting them away, just clean up the things. And then that was the way I did it. Now, you may do things differently. Maybe you have an assembly line set up where you just get all your products in and somebody cleans and somebody takes the photos and somebody does the keyword research so that way you can just create the listing, whatever works. But I had to take all of those things that caused me to stop and then go do something else and then come back to the listing process. I was like, we're not doing that. So I was able to take all of those little things and get them out of the way so that when I was ready to list, I could just go straight into listing. I had everything I needed to create this listing. Okay. So that's what I want to encourage you to look at the stuff as sequential order, what you do, break down the activity itself and what you do and how you do it. Okay. The next one is time blocking. I've talked about that one so much. And I just think that over time, when you are there, because you may not be there right now, when you're at that place where you're ready to regain control of the time that you're wasting, if you're a procrastinator, then time blocking will ultimately help you with that. You don't want to be overly stringent because you might underestimate the amount of time that something takes. So I'll give you an example. I had on my schedule for yesterday working on emails for uh I I'm the vice president of a nonprofit and we have an upcoming Easter event and I had 2 hours down to get emails done. It literally took me 6 hours to work on emails. I just like, why is it taking me this long to do this? And there were some assumptions that I made. And those assumptions did not work out for me. So all I'm saying is you're going to find that sometimes your time blocking is off and it's okay. Give yourself some grace and mercy. And, but time blocking can help you regain control of the time that you're wasting or that you're losing because time is so finite. You don't get it back. You can always work to make more money. You can always, hire people to help duplicate you. But the one thing you'll never get back is time. You'll never get that time back with your kids. You'll never get that time back with your significant other. You'll never get that time back, with, yourself if you're recovering from something or dealing with a loss. Like you won't ever get that time back. And sometimes we need that time to just deal with things and to address them. So I find the time blocking helps me regain control of my time, even though control is subjective. It just helps you to feel like you're regaining that time back. So I would encourage you to do time blocks. I always do things in 25-minute stretches, so I get a 5-minute break. And you can break it up into 15 or 30-minute stretches as well. In my schedule, I have 2 things in a block. If I think one of the things is only going to take me 15 minutes to knock out, then I have 2 things in a block. So that's, again, one of the things that I do. And then checklist and to do. You may actually build a checklist or a to-do list every single day, and you can break it down by morning, afternoon, and evening if that works better for you. And then creating SMART goals, again, something that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, realistic, and timely. It's time bound. So I hope this is helpful to you. Go and build your template, and then after you build your template, figure out what your actual is going to be. When you are listing, what are you listing next week? What are you listing? When you're sourcing, what are you sourcing next week? When you are engaging in research, what are you doing? Are you doing product research or are you doing listing research? And if you're doing product research, what are you doing product research on? Is it a holiday? Is it a season? Is it a specific event that comes up? What are you doing product research for? Um, Make sure you have time. The one thing that I don't know if I put it in here, that I noticed, and this is the reason why I haven't uploaded this, is that I didn't have the customer service in here. And I just like, how did you miss that? But anyway, you should always make sure that you have time in your time blocks for customer service, where you're checking with your customers. So yeah, for some reason, that whole block is gone. But anyway, customer service goes in here, and that is the whole dealing with refunds, returns, dealing with customer questions. And so make sure that that's one of your activities that you put on your schedule that should be happening every single week. All right. Well, with that being said, we've been on here for 2 hours. You guys have listened to me be stuffy, not stuffy. Thank you for your grace and mercy. I apologize for the inconvenience. I hope this information was helpful to you. Again, my name is Nicole Whitlock. I'm with eCom Sellers. My passion is helping people with their e-commerce journey to help them to achieve their goals in their e-commerce business. And if you're one of those people that needs help, then feel free to reach out to me. You can schedule some time with me by going directly to ecomsellers.com and click on coaching and schedule a free 20-minute coaching session. You can also catch us on Clubhouse, which I don't know. Clubhouse didn't work out today for me at all. And then you can also join our free Facebook group, e-commerce planning Facebook group, and be happy to help you there as well. All right, with that being said, go out and build an amazing schedule for next week. Hopefully it will be highly productive and successful for you. And then decide what your actual schedule is going to be. That's going to cut down your daily activity significantly from 15 minutes to 5 minutes, because you already have an outline of what your actual is going to be. And with that, I will say good luck, God bless, and goodbye for now. Bye, guys.